paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderers scum. They're on giant death factories keeping babies alive and selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy weird sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. What the hell? That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. Literal vampire pot and the goblins are hobbling round coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap. We don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Millions of pointed people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stare your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out this morning.
Woo! Good evening, friends. I'm glad you guys could make it. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Yeah, man. We're gonna go over some stuff tonight, which I have not gone over yet. The SJC filing. The SJC filing by Tim Bradel is available, so we're going to read that. We're going to go over that. And it seems that a police chief in Massachusetts has gotten himself into some pretty hot water, hence the title. He said it! So we're going to go over a law and crime video about that because, I mean, dude, the corruption just doesn't stop in Massachusetts. It's very weird. There's a lot of stuff, weird stuff going on in Massachusetts. There's like a kiddie porn ring going on in Massachusetts that the MSP broke up, which I have my theories about that. but yeah. So yeah, we're going to oh man, Kasi G is live. Oh man, yeah. Subscribe to Kasi G, bro. Bummer. I didn't know that he was going live. Yeah, so yeah, the corruption in Massachusetts is just like way too much, dude. Like it's a lot. And there's a lot to uncover, there's a lot to expose, there's a lot to explore. So hope they rolled up Gaffney. Connor McManus. And a big shout out to Scott Messerschmidt. Hold on, let me do this real quick before I forget, because we need to keep in mind. Now, again, I'm going to be pinning the Kelsey Fitzsimmons fund at the top of the chat because she needs it. And that's not to neglect Aiden's defense fund, which is in the description. Make sure you guys know that. Oh, wait a second. Carla Maria gifted a membership. Thank you so much for that. We are so grateful. Yeah, that's a good point. The kiddie porn stuff is all over. Why can't that be stopped? Shame alone should stop this. Agreed. Yeah, agreed. This is a really sick, twisted thing going on, and I think that there's a lot of powerful people who indulge in such atrocities, and this is probably why it's constantly a losing battle. I mean, I think this is a problem that's as old as time, but you know, the shit being on the internet wasn't. But the internet's a big place, and I think it's going to be difficult to stop that from happening. But I am going to let's get into the Kelsey Fitzsimmons stuff first. Let me pull this up real quick. So I'm going to read this article from Mass Live, and I'll share the link here in chat. Source from where I'm reading from. It might be too big of a comment here. Yeah, it's too much. Can't condense it. Oh well. Sorry, guys. Oh, well, I guess it did go through. Okay, never mind. Whatever. We're good. So yeah, let me go ahead and read this real quick. Oh my goodness, wait a second. I got a $25 PayPal from Carolyn. And she says, "Love your lives." Well, thank you, Carolyn. I love having you here. Appreciate that. So it says here, lawyers blast judge's decision to jail woman shot by fellow officer, chilling, heartless, and legally baseless. So it says here, in a brief filed with the full panel of the Supreme Judicial Court, lawyers for Kelsey Fitzsimmons decried the order sending her to jail as chilling, heartless, and legally baseless. Fitzsimmons, a North Andover police officer, is accused of aiming a gun at a fellow officer. And sorry, one second here. Wait a second. Natasha. Oh my God.
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a Superman.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. 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 I think we got a super dad.
How dare you?
Natasha, thank you so much. Appreciate you. And Miss V USMC, happy Veterans Day to you, by the way, and those of your loved ones who have served as well. Thank you so much. Gifted 5 memberships. Your service is greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you. And yes, welcome all the specially appointed prosecutor Robert Cosgrove raid members joining the chat. Appreciate you guys. Costy Live was awesome. Can't wait for more. I'm gonna have to catch that replay. Hell yeah. Let's see what we got here. Fitzsimmons, a North Andover police officer, is accused of aiming a gun at a fellow officer, serving her a restraining order obtained by her fiance on June 30th. She denies aiming the gun at the officer who shot her in the chest and has claimed she attempted suicide. In September, Fitzsimmons was sent to jail after a Superior Court judge reversed a previous order that had allowed her release on conditions. The judge did so after Fitzsimmons' lawyer said she couldn't complete court-ordered alcohol testing without pain, chronic pain. Since then, Fitzsimmons and her team have sought to undo the judge's order in essentially every legal avenue available to them, now taking their appeal to the full bench of the Supreme Judicial Court. The brief filed with the court Monday evening derides the actions of Judge Kathleen McCarthy Nyman as indefensible in the circumstances at bar. The decisions abuse the concept of dangerousness and, if allowed to stand, will seriously dilute the high standard previously solidified in case law, attorneys Tim Bradle and Martha Coakley wrote in the brief. McCarthy Nyman ruled Fitzsimmons was a danger to the community and the victim in the case, the police officer who shot her when she released her on conditions. It is that finding that led the judge to reverse her order allowing Fitzsimmons release, determining there were no conditions other than those first set down that could keep the community and the officer safe. But Fitzsimmons' lawyers argue she poses no danger to the officer. There's no likelihood that Miss Fitzsimmons, stripped of her firearms, a bit over 5 feet tall and 110 pounds, who could barely take a deep breath, would put the SWAT-trained armed officer or anyone else in danger going forward. The filing reads, noting that Fitzsimmons is scheduled to have a 5th surgery since being shot. They also dismissed McCarthy Nyman's specific focus on alcohol, writing that it played no role in the incident that led to the criminal charges. Good point. Her fiance had accused Fitzsimmons of drinking heavily the weekend prior to the incident at her bachelorette party and becoming violent after doing so. But her lawyers say drinking heavily at the event does not constitute ongoing alcohol abuse. It sure doesn't. Her serious ongoing medical struggles all but rule out alcohol abuse and manifestly do not require any unyielding approach to alcohol testing. She should not be required to satisfy phantom concerns, the briefing reads. In the filing, Fitzsimmons' lawyers argue a single justice of the court applied the wrong legal framework in reviewing the appeal of McCarthy Nyman's decision. Rather than considering the circumstances of the case, the Justice Elizabeth Dewar reviewed Nyman's decision. Rather than considering the circumstances of the case, the Justice Elizabeth Dewar reviewed the decision only for an abuse of discretion. The single justice appeal came after McCarthy Nyman denied a motion for consideration of her order. Fitzsimmons' lawyers have routinely criticized the judge's behavior during the hearing that ended with Fitzsimmons being jailed throughout the appellate process, writing in the latest brief that she became increasingly angry that a probation officer was confirming and corroborating the defense motion with her own personal knowledge. Court clearly dispensed with the safeguards that bail be revoked only after finding a violation of terms, that there be no combination of conditions that would allow the defendant's release. The filing concludes. Essex County prosecutors have until November 20th to file a brief in reply. Bradel and Coakley, so they have until the 20th to file a reply. Bradel and Coakley have sought an in-person hearing before the SJC on the bail issue, but the court could decide the issue based solely on the briefs. Wow. And hold on here. Liz88 gifted a membership. Folks, we love Liz. Thank you, Liz. Yeah, so let me go over this real quick. Okay, there's ads though. I don't need to go over this. I was going to go over her arraignment because they have it here. But I'm not going to go over that right now. Okay. So what I am going to do though is I am going to go over this briefing, this SJC brief here. What's up, Rat House? Scott Messerschmidt. It's good to see you guys. All right. So here it is, the Kelsey Fitzsimmons appellate defendant versus the Commonwealth appealee. No, this is 38 pages. I'll try to breeze through it as fast as I can, but I probably will pause and make some comments here. Robin G gifted another 5 memberships. Holy... Thank you, Robin G, so much. I appreciate you. All right. So let me go ahead and read this. The statement of issues is whether the single justice applied the incorrect standard of review where the court reviewed the Superior Court's pretrial detention order only for abuse of discretion rather than conducting a required de novo review of the legality and propriety of the bail determination as mandated by Commonwealth versus Chisholm. Now, mind you guys, I want you guys to know that you'll see me mispronounce words that in all likelihood I've never even seen before or heard before, because the Glare Institute of Law and stuff is for it. We like to keep things simple. Okay, folks, we don't need to impress anybody with these unnecessarily large vocabularies. Okay, we don't need to do that. Okay, no need to show off. We don't have to do that shit here. Okay, we just read the shit. All right, we do the best we can. All right, I'm not stupid. You're stupid. Anyway, so whether under de novo review, the trial court erred in finding that the allegations constituted clear and convincing evidence that no conditions of release could reasonably assure the safety of another person, where Ms. Fitzsimmons was a sworn North Andover police officer cleared to work, had an insignificant record, was accused of one crime for which she could obtain probation on a theoretical plea, had denied pointing a gun at an officer, is gravely injured and seriously debilitated from being shot at close range in the chest, and where the allegations are completely inconsistent with a risk of future harm. Yeah, that's a good question. I'd like to know how far away this guy was when he shot Kelsey. I'd like to know what the distance was. How close a range was it? Whether the Superior Court revocation of release and order of pretrial detention violated the requirements of GI blah, 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 where the court revoked the appellant's release and ordered detention without notice, without a request by the Commonwealth or probation, and without findings by clear and convincing evidence that no less restrictive alternatives could reasonably assure the safety of another person, ignoring the due process and substantive protections required under blah 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 blah. So basically, they're saying what Mr. Bradle here is saying, what the Terminator is saying here, is that the punishment doesn't fit the crime, more or less. So it's kind of ridiculous. These bail conditions are not appropriate to the circumstances of what took place here, and she is in grave health at the moment. She's about to undergo her 5th surgery to save her life. Holy shit. Miss Lily gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Lily. Oh man, those clubber walks are going to get crowded, bro. I love it. Thank you so much. Whether the court violated the Americans with Disabilities Act by ignoring the federal mandate to provide reasonable accommodations to disabled individuals in a pretrial probationary setting, where undisputed medical evidence demonstrated that the ordered Scram breath testing device caused the appellant significant physical pain and difficulty in compliance, and where the court failed to consider routine available alternatives such as standard urine testing. Now, if you remember that recording of that hearing, they at least the judge in her response to the appeal of her decision, the judge in her response claims that they didn't offer any other alternatives, that they didn't, hey, well, I mean, what other alternatives? They didn't offer any. Fair enough, but that's common sense. You know, that's just sticking to pure red tape, just, you know, splitting hairs, ridiculous bullshit. Now, and I wonder if Kelsey Fitzsimmons' defense team is fucking paranoid now. Like, are they afraid when they say significant pain? Did they learn from the mistake of saying torturous? It's inhumane, chronic, unbearable pain. Are they afraid to say this to the Supreme Justice Court? Are they afraid to say this to the SJC? Is that what they're afraid of? Because I wonder. I mean, like, I try to find like a little bit of the psychology and the wording of these things, and I'm wondering what's going through their minds when they're writing this shit. And I'm wondering if he's just like, fuck, man, this lady like took offense. The judge took offense when I said that these conditions were inhumane and that they were torturous. Miss Lily gifted another 5 memberships. Holy. Thank you, Miss Lily, so much. Wow. It's crazy. On June 30th, 2025, appellate North Andover police officer Kelsey Fitzsimmons was shot in the chest by a police colleague. Oh my God, Liz 88 is in competition with Lily, gifting 5 memberships. Holy. Thank you so much, Liz 88. Amazing. What's up, Oasis Cat? North Andover police officer Kelsey Fitzsimmons was shot in the chest by a police colleague from just feet away. But how many feet? After North Andover police appeared at her home to serve her with the restraining order. The order was just obtained by her fiance, ex parte, from the Essex probate court, requiring Miss Fitzsimmons, completely without notice, to give him custody of her 4-month-old newborn baby, forfeit her firearms, and consequently forfeit her job, her upcoming wedding, and her relationship. So right here, I mean, this is just a detailed way of explaining to the SJC that in a moment, in one visit, one knock on the door, her entire life was stripped from her, and it was designed to do so. The intention of showing up at her home was to strip her entire life from her. Now, you mix postpartum depression, folks. You mix something like postpartum depression, which I don't know a lot about. I've only heard things about. I don't pretend to be an expert on it. I do have people that I'm close to who feel very affected by postpartum depression and feel very strongly about it and feel very passionate about education on it. So there's that. But I don't pretend to know a lot about it. But I imagine from what I know about it, the very little that I know about it, and from what I've heard about it, that you mix something like postpartum depression with a visit from someone who you consider a friend and a bunch of other cops showing up to strip your life away from you. What is her life? What is her entire life? It may not seem like much, since all they have to do is just knock on your door and do it. It may not seem like much, but it is a lot. You're a career cop. Now a young one, fresh, but still, she loved being a cop. She's a career cop. She's a new mother. She's about to get married, she thinks. Like, her whole life is absolutely right in front of her. Everything is working out, and then all of it in one knock at the door is gone. Things that shouldn't have anything to do with the other. Okay, well, they could show up and they could fire me from my job. Well, that's one thing, but at least I have my fiance. At least I still have my child. At least I still have my health. All of these things. Miss Lily is now a member. Thank you. She's gifting memberships like crazy, but now she's a member. Welcome to Logic. That's insane. Like, that is a fucking nightmare. I can't even imagine. That is a fucking nightmare, and it feels like a nightmare, and it's in real life. It's happening to you. It's happening to you while you're awake. Why would it seem absurd in any way, shape, or form that this person might panic under the circumstances of suffering from postpartum depression, and then all of this happening in one shot? No pun intended. All of this happening in one shot, and then she gets shot on top of it. Why wouldn't she? Why would it seem absurd anyway that she might become suicidal at that very moment? Maybe she thought she was fucking dreaming. Maybe she thought she was in a nightmare. Maybe she thought that she was in such a fucking nightmare that putting a gun to her head and shooting herself in the head would be the only way to wake up. Because I can't imagine that happening in a span of a second the way that it did. Can you imagine the cops showing up at your door all of a sudden? The person that you think you're about to marry and live happily ever after, all of a sudden just fucked you over in a way that you could not have seen coming. Because of this person who you thought you were about to spread the rest of your life with, you find out that because of this person, your colleague shows up to your door to take your baby, your gun, your job, your badge, and then shoot you. What is this person that needs to fucking blast my chat with all caps? Do you hate cops because of your domestic violence? Oh, God. Drug charges, or is it because you have a retarded son and you failed to pay child support? I love that. I don't hate cops at all, as a matter of fact. Like, I'm here defending one right now. Yeah. A lady cop, as a matter of fact. And I don't have any charges at all. Like, I don't even have a record. It's so funny to me that everyone says that. When people say and they talk about your charges and you don't even have a record, like, that tells you all you need to know about people like this. That tells you who's fact-driven and who isn't. That's why I don't get bothered by stuff like that. That's why I highlight their comments, because it doesn't matter what these people say. It does not matter. Like, these are people who are just plain fucking stupid and retarded, and they don't have their facts straight, and they're not interested. And it's because they're not interested in facts. And that's all you need to know. Holy crap. Karen Alexis just sent me $50 on PayPal. Thank you so much. Love you, Will. Always look forward to notifications that you're going live. I love that. That's so cool, man. Thank you. That means everything, man. It really does. Is there a ghost in here? Because I don't have Clubber down here. Okay, whatever. Miss Lily gifted another 5 membership. Miss Lily, you are going crazy out here, bro. You're going crazy. All right, let me keep reading this. The shooting occurred in her bedroom at 125 Phillips Brooks Road, North Andover, Massachusetts. Ms. Fitzsimmons contends she obtained a firearm to engage in self-harm as a result of her entire future crumbling on the spot. She contends she would never point a gun at a fellow law enforcement officer, much less the officer who she considered to be a friend. The alleged victim officer contends appellant tried unsuccessfully to operate the firearm intending to shoot him, causing him to shoot her. Natasha, thank you so much. That was probably a twisted twat troll. I mean, that's cool. I mean, that's okay. You know, like, I'm just telling you, dude, like, I challenge anyone to find a criminal record on me. I challenge anybody. I don't have one. There were no body cameras and no other witnesses to the events in the bedroom. On August 7th, 2025, after 38 days in Massachusetts General Hospital, appellant was arrested, handcuffed, and shackled to her hospital bed. Ms. Fitzsimmons was arraigned on the 3 foregoing charges out of Lawrence District Court from her hospital bed via phone on August 9th, 2025, and held following a written motion by the Commonwealth. The charges were presented to the Essex County Grand Jury on August 25th, 2025, where the grand jurors returned a true bill on only one count of assault by means of a dangerous weapon. Appellant was arraigned in Essex Superior Court, Salem, for the single indictment on August 28th, 2025. Despite the drastic reduction in the charge and the eligibility for probation, the Superior Court, again, McCarthy Nyman J., held Ms. Fitzsimmons pursuant to blah, 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 after a motion filed by the Commonwealth. On September 8th, 2025, after filing several motions, appellant was released on maximal conditions, including GPS bracelet, reside at mother and stepfather's residence, no possession of firearms or dangerous weapons, no alcohol, scram, alcohol breath test device, 24/7 house arrest with 48 hours notice to probation for attorney medical appointments, no contact with witnesses, and no contact with her infant son, regardless of future rulings on the subject made in the pending probate and family court action. Unreal. So even if, like, these are all the conditions of her bail, right? And even if the family court decides, this is how far the judge went with this. Even if the family court decides, no, like, she can see her son. She can absolutely see her son. Why can't she see her son? Even if family court decides that, this judge is saying, regardless of that shit, she's not allowed to be anywhere near her kid. In the most crucial time for a mother to form a maternal bond with her child. This is so crazy. I'm going to read this footnote here. The Massachusetts sentencing guidelines provide for a probationary sentence in Miss Fitzsimmons' circumstances in the little to no record category. For the one count in this case, for the maximum 5-year felony for a concurrent district court jurisdiction. Unless the court acts here, she will have to endure pretrial incarceration on a case where, if she pled guilty, which she will not do, she would almost inevitably get probation. This sole charge does not warrant detention of any finding, or warrant detention or any finding, or 58A finding. This is, yeah. So right here, they're basically making a point in this footnote that even if she would have pled guilty, which she has no intention on doing, but if she were planning to plead guilty in this case, she would still only get probation. So why the fuck is she in jail right now? Especially when she didn't even fail the scram test. She only had pain and requested other means to prove that she's not drinking. That's all she asked. And then the judge revoked her bail, and now she's in jail. Why is she in jail when, even if she would have pled guilty on this crime, on this charge, she would have gotten probation? Worst thing would have happened, she would have got probation. Oh my God. Randa sent me a $20 PayPal. Love your take on all your subjects. Thanks for being you. Thank you so much, Randa. Appreciate that. You guys are awesome, man. I really appreciate you guys. This is the most infuriating shit in the world. That's crazy. Like, I didn't even think about that. I'm so glad we're reading this, because I didn't even consider that. I didn't even consider that there would be no jail time to the charge that she's being charged with. And she's sitting in jail right now, and she's not even convicted. What in the fuck is going on in Massachusetts? On September 10th, 2025, appellant filed an emergency motion for immediate relief from the scram order. Ms. Fitzsimmons filed an affidavit with her emergency motion outlining for the court that I am required to blow into a scram device 3 times a day. Each time I attempt to use the scram device, it takes a minimum of 4 to 5 minutes. 4 to 5 times of blowing due to the amount of breath the device requires to register. Each time I blow into the device, it causes me extreme pain due to my broken ribs and the fact that my lung has not completely healed from being shot. I have also developed significant anxiety that my inability to blow into and complete each test will trigger a warrant for my arrest. I feel that putting my body through the exertion this test requires is causing major setback to any healing process I have made. Like, what's the fucking question here, dude? What is the question?
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat. Super cat. Super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat.
How dare you?
Betsy, thank you so much. Thank you for always being so real. Thank you. I mean, I don't know any other way to be, man. Like, I feel like it takes work to be a phony, fake, envious, jealous cunt. I feel like it takes work. I'm like this because I'm lazy. Like, no doubt. Like, I'm serious. I'm serious. I am the way I am because I'm fucking lazy. Ask anybody who's known me for my entire life. I'm the way I am simply because I'm fucking lazy. It's too much work. It's too much shit to, like, you know, put on some sort of fucking front. And you know what I mean? You got to keep that shit up. Dude, I do this the way that I do it because I'm lazy. Because I love to chill. I love chilling, dude. It's my favorite fucking thing to do is to not do jack shit. Okay? Robin G, thank you so much. You missed Dita's super chat. I did. Did I miss Z? Oh my God, I could not have missed Dita's super chat. Thank you so much, Robin G. And I'm so upset at myself that it cost you $5 to get my attention on that. Hold on. I'll find that shit right now. There it is. Hold on. Dina, December 5th. We need, and she gets a song, man. She asked.
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat. Super cat. Super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat.
How dare you?
Dina, thank you so much. December 5th, we needs everyone at the courthouse to show support for Turtle Boy and the injustices that are happening here in Massachusetts. To show support for Turtle Boy and to speak out against the injustices that are happening in Massachusetts. We don't want to support the injustices that are happening in Massachusetts. We want to speak against them. I know what you meant, though, Dina. Thank you so much. You're amazing. You're amazing. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm lazy, dude. Like I'm just grateful that because I'm telling you, man, people are like, man, I love when people are like, it's that you work so hard. Like Alan Jackson told me that shit. I swear to God, Alan Jackson told me that shit. Like, you know what, man, you guys, dude, you work so hard. And I'm like, no, I don't. That's exactly what I told him. I was like, no, I don't, man. Like, there are creators that work hard. Microdots works hard. Melanie Little works hard. Emily Baker works hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of creators that work hard. But there's other ones like, you know, and then there's creators that like work hard to do fucking jack shit. You know what I mean? That you're just like, what are you doing? Why are you putting in all that work to do what? You know, it's crazy. Like Aiden works hard, you know, like I don't work hard, bro. Like I fucking hear about shit. I read about shit, you know, and then I add my 2 cents and that's it. I don't do, I'm an independent commentator. That's it. I'm not a journalist. None of that shit. I'm no different than somebody standing around the water cooler with you at your job. Except the difference is those people are working. So yeah, you know, so that's why, that's why I'm the way I am. It's just like I just don't like. It's a blessing to be able to do this, and you guys dig it. You know, that's all. I already read that 5 times a day. I have also developed significant anxiety that my inability to blow into and complete each test will trigger a warrant for my arrest. I feel that putting my body through the exertion this test requires is causing major setback to any healing process I have made. Excuse me. Appellant's mother also provided an affidavit to the court stating, I witnessed her struggling extremely with blowing into this device. There was one occasion where she almost passed out. After that occasion, she became very shaken and sick for most of the day. Jesus. The parties appeared before the court, McCarthy, Neiman, the next day, and appellant requested alternatives for scram testing. What should have happened could have taken 5 minutes, where the defense reported the difficulties had an alternative method of alcohol testing put in its place. Let me read this footnote here. Ms. Fitzsimmons respectfully submits that it is important for the court to listen to the recording of the trial court bail hearing, which recording was submitted to the SJC on a thumb drive with the 221 memorandum. The single justice apparently only reviewed the transcripts later provided by the Commonwealth and was not able to appreciate the actual treatment of the defense and the probation department, which is made clear by listening to the hearing culminating in the judge departing the bench while defense counsel was mid-argument. Yes, so they're pushing right there. I love that. Bradel is pushing that they hear the recording that we listen to, that they hear the recording. That's what Bradel's pushing for. They want the SJC to hear this recording so that they could truly appreciate how fucking dismissive and fucking, frankly, you know, visceral this judge was for no reason. So I love that. That's just good fucking lawyering right there. You know what I mean? That's just being thorough as fuck. Like, whoa, okay. The transcript that you got from the prosecution, okay, that's one thing. Fair enough. Cool. But no, it's not enough. For you to truly appreciate what took place in that courtroom and what we're up against and why we're filing this appeal, why we're filing this with the SJC, you need to listen to that shit. You need to listen to why this to how this judge was towards us. She just cut us off and walked out of the fucking courtroom. Kind of shit is that? So, goes on to say, rather than utilizing a readily available common alternative method of alcohol testing, the court surrendered the appellant back to jail without a request to do so from either the Commonwealth or probation in violation. So, and if you remember correctly, that's what they're pointing out here is just because they asked, hey, I'm in chronic pain every time I try to take this breathalyzer test. It hurts so bad that I feel like I'm going to pass out. Can we come up with an alternative? Well, you didn't name one specifically, so I'm going to send you to jail. But, Your Honor, the prosecution hasn't even requested that her bail be revoked. Doesn't matter. I'm making sure you go back to jail. Show you to ask me questions. Show you to ask me for a favor. Show you to ask me to be reasonable. Fuck you. You're going to jail. I mean, that's what happened. Tell me that's not what happened. the court shut down the probation officer, cut off counsel, and walked off the bench while undersigned was arguing for his client. In writing, she accused the defense of manipulating the situation and repeatedly misstated the record. Just hours after the court's unexpected revocation order, undersigned filed on the same day a motion to reconsider and attached emails from probation to confirm alternative testing. On September 15, 2025, appellant filed a supplemental exhibit for her pending reconsideration motion that included a very difficult to obtain letter from her trauma surgeon corroborating the prospect of Ms. Fitzsimmons' claim of pain while breathing deeply into the scram device. Nonetheless, on September 16, 2025, the court issued an order denying defendant's motion to reconsider imposition of custody and for reinstatement of original terms of release with order for alternative testing. Ms. Fitzsimmons filed an emergency petition for relief from order revoking terms of release brought pursuant blah, blah, blah to the single justice for the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court. The single justice Dewar denied the petition without a hearing. Ms. Fitzsimmons now petitions the full court for relief pursuant to SJC Rule 221. Now, this is crazy, dude. The court shut down the probation officer, cut off counsel, and walked off the bench while undersigned was arguing for his client. In writing, she accused the defense of manipulating the situation. That's in that response. Manipulating the situation and repeatedly misstated the record. Dude, it's a fucking recording. What are you talking about? It's a recording. Statement of facts. On June 30th, 2025, Miss Kelsey Fitzsimmons was the mother of a 4-month-old infant and police officer in the North Andover Police Department. She has been a law enforcement officer for approximately 5 years, first as a corrections officer with the Essex County Sheriff's Department, and then as a police officer with the North Andover Police Department. On the day in question, she was on maternity leave in recovery from a postpartum depression diagnosis and had been cleared in a fit-for-duty report. She was scheduled to return to work on July 4th, 2025. That day, her fiance and baby's father told her to meet him at a local park and instead stood her and the baby up and got an ex parte restraining order with the affidavit full of shocking lies. Kelsey went home and 3 male well, I'll read that in a second. Hold on. The footnote here says, in no free society should a person be able to go to court, fill out a form, and send the police to a new mother's home and take a baby away from her without any opportunity to be heard. If there are allegations of imminent bodily harm, that is a matter for police and 911, not the court system listening to one side of an issue from a private party with their own agenda and ulterior motives, seeking a leg up on future custody matters. I love that Tim Bradel said that. See, that's the kind of shit. That's that Tim Bradel shit right there. That's that Tim Bradel shit. That's that Mark Betterow shit. You know, Mark Betterow's not, I'm not saying I know that Mark Betterow's not part of the Kelsey Fitzsimmons team, but this is why someone like Aiden Turtleboy, Dr. Turtleboy, Mr. Media Carney would hire the likes of someone like Tim Bradel and would hire the likes of someone like the mighty Mark Betterow because he knows that they have that passion. Because putting that footnote in there is not just good lawyering. That's good lawyering driven by passion. That's the heart of Tim Bradel right there. Tim Bradel saying, I can't go writing this to the SJC without pointing out this fact. Pointing out how strongly I feel, how strongly it's there's no way that in a civil society that this is okay, that someone could weaponize the court system through being one-sided. Just go in there and just be like, hey, I'm going to take the kid. That's insane. And that doesn't happen everywhere. I wish I could get into more details. There's a situation that I could actually explain very candidly here, but I don't want to put anybody else's business out there. But let's just say that in the state of Georgia, they're weary of this. They're careful, and it sucks because even in a situation where the person has standing ground to file this restraining order, has good reason to, where a forensic interview was already conducted. Okay? And you have good reason to. If there is a custody situation happening, or even a potential one, they will not grant a restraining order because they're afraid it's being used as a weapon in a custody battle. They don't want that. They won't do that. That was in Georgia about 15 years ago. 10 years ago. 10 years ago. A little bit more accurate timeline there. And here in Massachusetts, it's back-asswards, dude. In Massachusetts there, apparently you could just fucking roll up in a courthouse and just be like, hey, I claim that this shit is happening, and so I need to take the kid. What? What? From the mother? You know how difficult that shit is? Anywhere to take a child away from their mother during such a crucial time to form a maternal bond with this child? A paternal bond, you could take that, you take all your whole life with that shit. Shit is terrible. This shit is crazy to me. But I know in Georgia, they watch out for that shit. I know that. It's so crazy that it's back-asswards in Massachusetts that you could just fucking do that. And then you got, I mean, it goes on here to say, Kelsey went home and 3 male North Andover colleague police officers came to the house, serving the order, taking the baby, her future marriage, and her career with them all at once in the space of minutes without her even being heard or able to defend herself. She never pointed a gun at any officer. Unfortunately, the department's decision to avoid body cameras leaves the case as he said, she said exercise and seriously hinders the strengths of the Commonwealth's case, a highly relevant factor in the bail determination. While inside the residence, Ms. Fitzsimmons began gathering clothing and supplies for the baby. During this time, appellant's supplies, sorry, my SIRI just came on and distracted me. While inside the residence, Ms. Fitzsimmons began gathering clothing and supplies for the baby. During this time, appellant's mother and the infant's father arrived at the home. Ms. Fitzsimmons remained upstairs with the officer with Officer Noonan, while Officer Houston and Lieutenant Daly were on the first floor with appellant's mother and Mr. Alien. Don't know how to say that, but okay. With only Ms. Fitzsimmons and Officer Noonan on the second floor of the home, Officer Noonan stated that Ms. Fitzsimmons, kneeling on the floor of her bedroom, lunged behind a door and reappeared pointing a firearm at him. Kelsey Fitzsimmons adamantly denies ever pointing a firearm at another person. Ms. Fitzsimmons was ultimately shot in the chest and flighted to Mass General Hospital where she underwent multiple procedures, including chest tube placement. When we get into the medical terms, guys, I lose it. Sorry, guys. Drainage of hepatic collection. I couldn't say that word. I could not say that word. Hold on. This footnote here says it is notable that there is no door to or in Miss Fitzsimmons' bedroom. Interesting. Okay. Because he claimed that she lunged behind the door. She lunged behind the door and reappeared pointing a firearm. So she disappeared behind the door, reappeared pointing a firearm, and there is no fucking door in her bedroom. So what the fuck's he talking about? So that's a fucking lie right there. It's a fucking lie. I'm determined to pronounce this word. Percutaneous drainage placement. Percutaneous drainage of a hepatic collection and ERCP with biliary. I've never heard that word either. Set placement due to injury sustained from the gunshot wound to the chest. While in the hospital, Ms. Fitzsimmons consistently engaged with health supports, including behavioral health. Upon discharge, she was cleared of any mental health concerns by her MGH psychiatrist and her consulting psychologist, Dr. Paul Ziesel. Like countless new mothers, she had suffered from transient bout of postpartum depression. Since discharge, Ms. Fitzsimmons has undergone an extensive risk assessment by Genetini, a private contractor and CPCS vendor with a Master of Social Work, summa cum laude, from Edinburgh University. Ms. Tini cooperates with findings of the two clinicians and adds her third expert voice that Ms. Fitzsimmons is not dangerous. She reported that Ms. Fitzsimmons is classified as a low risk of violent recidivism, absent of intensive services. A low risk categorization would mean that the person is apt to abstain from violent conduct on their own, while high risk means individuals are unlikely to desist from crime unless they receive intensive services. Additionally, Ms. Fitzsimmons scored exceptionally high for protective factors all across all evaluated domains, which further credence to the low risk categorization, Let's see what the footnote here says. Gunshot wound to the right hemothorax with retained bullet fragments in the right upper back. Moderate right hemothorax requiring chest tube replacement. Right middle and lower lobe. Pulmonary contusions with active bleeding. Grade 4 hepatic trauma with active bleeding from the right hepatic lobe. Comminuted right posterior 12th rib fracture, right anterior 11th rib fracture at the costochondral junction. Okay. I understood. I more or less got that. Even though I could never begin to explain it, I more or less got it. While she has recent history of postpartum depression and post-traumatic stress disorder, she has demonstrated a sustained recovery and exhibits high levels of coping, emotional regulation, and treatment engagement. Her social supports, living circumstances, and structured routines further reinforce her stability. These protective factors significantly mitigate static risk factors and suggest that any residual risk is manageable within the community in her establishment supportive environment. Since the court's wholesale denials of defense filings, Miss Fitzsimmons has been held at the Western Massachusetts Women's Correctional Facility in Chicopee, Massachusetts, where she has been in solitary confinement due to her status as a police officer and former corrections officer. Since being incarcerated, Miss Fitzsimmons has been threatened by a male inmate while he found out something about that bitch. What the fuck? Footnote here says the court ignored the increased risk inherent in incarcerating a police officer and former corrections officer. The defense learned on September 28th, 2025, that Ms. Fitzsimmons has in fact been targeted at the Chicopee Women's Correctional Center when at 9:15 a.m. on December 24th, 2025, a biological male identifying as a female threatened petitioner, saying in her presence, "I found out something about that bitch," and later directly to Miss Fitzsimmons. While walking to his cell, he began pointing and screaming at inmate Fitzsimmons, who is currently on the rec deck, and stated, "You PC bitch, you best check out who you're fucking with." See Hampden Sheriff's Department incident report. Jesus Christ. The fact is that Miss Fitzsimmons petitioner will continue to be targeted due to her profession and is at enhanced risk of harm 24 hours a day. There is no legal basis to hold her in prison as a pretrial detainee, especially given her law enforcement history. She is under enhanced risk of harm and even death and should be released forthwith. Exactly. Get her the fuck out of there, dude. Like, that's just fucking crazy. Okay? Angel Baby gifted a membership. Thank you so much. Oh my God. I didn't even take that into consideration. There's so much other shit, so many factors. There's nothing but factors as to why this woman should not be in jail right now. That's what's wild right now, is there's nothing but factors that dictate that this woman should not be in jail. And the fact that she is a cop flew right over my head. And because it's a fucking blue state, they got this fucking person who identifies as a woman, a male fucking criminal, jailed in the same place as her, threatening her. Dude, how in the fuck is that not even worse than a fucking MMA fighter who identifies as a woman taking on biologically female opponents? I didn't think it could get worse than that. Now, I don't give a fuck. You can sit here, you can call me transphobic, all that bullshit, dude. I know it's not true, so you can fucking kiss my ass. The bottom line here is that this person is a biological male in a jail with a female cop. And just because he may feel like a woman inside does not negate the danger, the elevated danger from him being a biological male in jail with a female cop. That does not take away from that. I don't give a fuck what you say. You can kiss my fucking balls. Fuck you. I don't care what you say. It is unacceptable in the first place that she's in jail. It is unacceptable that she's a cop and in jail, even though technically she's not a cop anymore. And that got robbed from her, stripped from her by a spiteful, toxic venomous shitbag. And then she got shot. And then you're going to stick her in jail with trans dudes threatening her. The fuck out of here with that. That's infuriating. Like, dude, Joey Swole is getting so much shit right now. And I don't feel like, I mean, you know, he's free to handle it however he wants. You know what I mean? I wish he'd just tell these people to go fuck themselves, honestly. You know, but maybe that's why he's fucking Joey Swole and I'm me. You know what I mean? So that's fair. But, you know, I'm rooting for him to just be like, you know what? Go fuck yourselves. Every one of you. Because he's getting so much shit because somebody who identified as a female, some dude who identified as a female was swinging his dong around and making dong jokes in a women's locker room at a Gold's Gym. And a woman who's a member of the LGBTQ community, she complained and they kicked her out. They kicked her out. Because she's in the women's locker room and some dude who identifies as a female is making dick jokes, swinging his dong around, swinging her dong around. The fuck? And just because Joey Swole said, hey, women should be able to feel comfortable in a locker room at the gym. Joey Swole's all about gym culture. He's all about lifting people up, so to speak. He's all about gym culture and making everyone feel comfortable enough to improve themselves at the gym, to use exercise to improve yourself and feel comfortable doing it. That's what he's all about. I respect the fuck out of that. And then he spoke up about this, and now he's getting all this shit on all his hate about being transphobic. Get the fuck out of here with that. How's it transphobic to think that women should feel safe? Anyway, that's my rant on that. The trial court's action, this is a summary of argument. And I'm not going to go through this whole thing. I don't think I'm going to go through this whole motion because I want to go on to the other stuff too. The summary of argument here, the trial court's actions are indefensible in the circumstances at bar. The decisions abuse the concept of dangerousness, and if allowed to stand, will seriously dilute the high standard previously solidified in case law. Even if dangerousness is proven, incarceration is the last resort, especially for a police officer and former corrections officer. Hello? And only then by clear and convincing evidence. These constitutional and case-based guarantees are not mere optional formalities. Here, such a finding is chilling, heartless, and legally baseless. The trial court discounted so much to get the case to where it is. Kelsey Fitzsimmons is a sworn law enforcement officer from 2 different Essex County agencies. Far from posing a danger, she has passed the many hurdles to becoming an officer, sworn to oath, and has been entrusted by the community to protect them from danger. Eth Joe gifted a membership. Thank you so much. Oh my God. Thank you so much. She has an insignificant record from 2018 that had no effect on securing her law enforcement career and a clean record in Essex County law enforcement. Her service as public safety official, proudly protecting those in her town and her county from danger, putting herself in harm's way, and was all but ignored by the trial court and strong evidence in her favor. The nature of the incident is also inconsistent with the requirement that there be clear and convincing evidence of some ongoing risk of future danger. On the Commonwealth allegations, Miss Fitzsimmons assaulted the officer with a gun and the course of attempting self-harm due to complete collapse of everything important to her at the moment. At best, the Commonwealth's allegations, the officer was placed in apprehension in the course of events that had nothing to do with him personally. So what's crazy is this is her word against his. Fitzsimmons' word against Noonan's. That's what we're looking at here. Fitzsimmons' word against Noonan's as to the events that took place. Whether or not she assaulted him with a weapon, basically threatened him with a weapon. Basically threatened him and pulled the trigger, but it malfunctioned. Right? That's Noonan's claim. She denies it. Grand jury, okay, they indicted her. Fine. What's done is done. Even though grand jury shouldn't have, but what's done is done. And now here we are, and we got to sit here and wonder, wait a second. Like, why would the prosecution even move forward with this? How are they going to prove? How are they going to prove that? I mean, they're just going to go by Noonan's word. They're just counting on a jury to go by Noonan's word. After she's going to testify, most likely, or at least there will be witnesses to testify, most likely, that they were good friends. That they bonded over an incident where there was a maternal suicide / homicide. And this hit home to both of them. And so they bonded over this and became friends. And she's going to pull a gun and try to shoot him? No record of any kind whatsoever of any violent behavior. I mean, listen. And I'm reluctant to even say this, but in theory, right now, how I feel like it's a good idea for her to go on the stand, considering, if her health sees to it, if her health allows this, I can't see how it would be bad to put her on the stand and have her testify to a jury and tell her side of the story. Because it is he said, she said bullshit. It really is. You guys have to excuse me for a moment. I'll be right back. 1 second. All right. Thanks for waiting, guys. I appreciate you. So yeah, like I just don't see. I feel like I feel as though the way to go here for sure. Like, and this is one of those rare cases. Like, I don't think putting Karen Reed on the stand would have been a good idea. Like, I think that her defense made a great choice by making sure she did not take that stand. I think that it would have been a bad idea for Karen Reed to take the stand, but I think it's actually, in theory, a good idea for Kelsey Fitzsimmons to have a chance to tell her side of the story here, because there's nothing but hearsay here. You know what I'm saying? Like, she should have a chance to defend herself and paint her own picture as far as her own character goes, and not get this guy all the say if he's sitting here accusing her of trying to kill her, of trying to kill him. That's crazy. This is somebody who she considered a friend, and she's claiming in writing that his allegations are fucking absurd because they were such good friends. She should be allowed to express that verbally and let a jury decide if this is fact, if this is true. And maybe that's selfish. Maybe it's because I want to know. maybe I just want to know. There is no animus or motive to harm going forward. In fact, the record points in the complete opposite direction. Ms. Fitzsimmons publicly stated that the officer was not just a colleague, he was my friend. That officer and I experienced a very difficult and sad call for service together last summer. That call for service that day was a true tragedy and caused this officer and I to build a friendship due to experiencing it together. To this day, his support during that hard time is something I am still grateful for, regardless of the recent incident that occurred. There is no likelihood that Ms. Fitzsimmons, stripped of her firearms, a bit over 5 feet tall and 110 pounds, who could barely take a deep breath, would put the SWAT-trained armed officer, or anyone else in danger going forward. Exactly. She is gravely injured and presently scheduled for her 5th operation at MGH. She should benefit from reasonable accommodations under the Americans with Disabilities Act rather than be housed in a prison cell. Alcohol was an irrational focus of the trial court. There's no likelihood that alcohol consumption is a real factor here. The incident had nothing whatsoever to do with alcohol. Drinking the weekend at her bachelorette party is hardly a bellwether of ongoing alcohol abuse by a new mother and full-time sworn police officer. Bro, we're playing Family Feud. We're playing Family Feud. Okay? Category is name something where it is expected for a woman to become intoxicated on alcohol. Oh man, I don't know. Bachelorette party. Bachelorette party survey says, ding. It's number 1, bro. It's number 1. It's number 1. So she's an alcoholic drunk with a problem because she got drunk at her bachelorette party. You fucking kidding me? Is that supposed to be fucking funny? You fucking kidding me? Dude, I've seen bachelorette parties online. Holy shit. I've seen some Yo, if those things actually take place, bro, you women are fucked up. And it doesn't happen at fucking male bachelor parties, dude. I've seen some fucking videos online, dude, where there's female bachelorette parties, dude, and I'm just like, holy shit, does that fucking actually happen? What in the fuck are these? You women are crazy. Dude, all I'm saying, man, is what's the problem? How is that a basis that she got drunk at a bachelorette party, her bachelorette party? How is that a basis that she has a drinking problem? How in the fuck does that even begin to be a basis that she has a drinking problem? It makes no sense at all. Unreal. Her serious ongoing medical struggles all but rule out alcohol abuse and manifestly do not require any unyielding approach to alcohol testing. She should not be required to satisfy phantom concerns. And if the court for some reason deems such testing necessary, she can easily drive 10 minutes down the road for urine testing rather than being tortured with a constantly recurring breath test. The foregoing factors strongly militate against a dangerousness finding and certainly against incarceration. Her demonstrated commitment to public safety and the community should itself negate dangerousness in a one-count case that barely makes grounds for dangerousness and qualifies for a probationary sentence. Ms. Fitzsimmons is a lifelong North Shore resident with indelible roots in the community from her upbringing, family, friends, job, and education. She has a devoted family and a now 9-month-old baby whom she earnestly wishes to raise, cherish, support, and continue to assist in caretaking. She has everything to gain by staying with her family and fighting these abominable charges and clearing her name. It is clear that Ms. Fitzsimmons is well within the Commonwealth's presumptive personal recognizance framework. The lower court should be reversed in favor of personal recognizance and certainly, at the very minimum, not result in Ms. Fitzsimmons' incarceration. There she is right there. Man, it is really infuriating that this is happening to her. And the way that it's happening is like, makes it like double infuriating. Not just like, I mean, it doubles it. It's not just, it doesn't just add to it. It doubles it, at least. Like how it's happening to her. It's fucking crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and let me just see real quick here. Yeah, this is all pretty much case law and stuff like that, which, you know, this is Melanie Little department stuff. But I mean, they're making a strong argument. Like, it's clear that they're making a strong argument as to why she should not fucking be in jail and why she should not have to subject herself to chronic pain to prove that she's not drinking when drinking isn't even a fucking factor. Like, it's not even a problem. So it's terrible that this is happening to her. So for this fight to continue, guys, remember her link to help her out is right there at the if you're watching on your phone, pinned to the top of the chat. And you know, you could help her out because I know she could use it. We already know Tim the Terminator's got his hands full with Aiden already, so you know, we want to help out as much as we can. I'm just for kidding around, Aiden. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move on to this. I don't know shit about this, okay? I don't know anything about this. All I know is there's some fucking chief of police in Massachusetts who's gotten himself in some shit, and Law and Crime did a story on this, and we're gonna watch Law and Crime's take on this here. So I'm dropping the link in chat. Give them a like. And let's check this out.
True crime content. Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest personal injury law firm. They have more than
whatever.
More website they issued this story. Michael Ali Bozak was the police chief of the Cheshire Police Department, a position he's held since June of 2022. But now his career is in jeopardy. Let's dive into what police say happened. Last week on November 6th, a woman created an online ad. We don't know what website the ad was placed on, and there's a reason. This was all a part of an undercover operation. A UC or undercover officer placed the ad specifically on a site for independent escorts, agency escorts, and other adult service providers. The UC even used the app Callyo to set up undercover phone numbers to call or text potential offenders. But also on the flip side, law enforcement uses it to contact victims too. In this case though, the UC got a text from a man who police say made his intention clear, and that man allegedly was Chief Ali Bozak. Those messages came in shortly before 9 p.m. on November 6th. According to his criminal complaint, the messages marked in came from Michael. The messages marked out came from the woman who police say Michael had no idea was an undercover officer. Here's what they say according to police documents.
I love it.
Michael, you free for outcall? Undercover officer, yes. Michael, willing to come to Adams? Undercover officer, where in Adams? Michael, East Road, just over the Adams Cheshire line. Undercover officer, any chance you can come a little more south? Michael, really don't want to go out. It's okay if you don't want to come here. My daughter will be home at 10:30ish, so it has to be a quickie. Undercover officer, I just don't love just going to Rando's house. Ha ha ha. No offense. Any chance we can meet like down the road first or do a car date? Michael, if it's quick, we can meet at Huzak, then maybe come to my house, but just need to be back and you out before my daughter gets home. I live about a mile from the school. Undercover officer, okay, I can do that. What services do you want so I can give you the price? What services do you?
Because people, you don't pay a hooker for sex. You pay her to leave. This fucking guy. Oh, man. Police chief, dude.
Huzak isn't far from me at all.
I mean, dude, here's the thing, though. Like, is this really so fucking bad? You know? Like, I'm going to have to hear this through. Because, I mean, honestly, dude, you know, like, I honestly, I feel like sex work should be fucking legal when it comes to certain things, man. It's the oldest profession in the fucking book. It's not harming anybody. Some people have to pay for it. Right on, man. Let them fucking pay for it. If that's what they got to do, then that's what they got to do. What's the problem? If all parties are consenting and they're all adults, of course, then what is the fucking problem, dude?
Michael, just a half hour. Or do you want specifics? Undercover officer. Well, babes, price also depends on specifics. Michael, meet you by the football field parking lot. You're not LE, are you? Undercover officer. Hell no. I'm not risking getting in trouble. I'm on my way. Are you LE? Michael, okay, where are you coming from?
Are you LE? Now, that's either a cop or a YouTuber. It's talking about writing law enforcement as LE. You're either a cop or a YouTuber.
I'll meet you there. Hell no. Undercover officer. Pittsfield Lanesboro line. Wait, you didn't tell me what you wanted. Michael, want to bend you over and F you. Undercover officer. Ooh, bet. I'll meet you in 15. What kind of car will you be in? I'm driving a RAV4. Michael, Toyota pickup black. How far away are you? Undercover officer. Currently 10 minutes. Michael, okay, just pulled in. Sure you don't just want to meet me at my house? It's 2 minutes up the road. Undercover officer. Okay, I'm almost there. The last message Michael allegedly sent.
This fucking poor bastard, bro. This guy. Desgraciado. Like, dude, come on, man. Like, this is horrible. This is fucking awful. My man, you are not looking good, dude.
To the woman was at 9:43 p.m. on November 6th. Around 9:45, officers arrived to the school in an unmarked car. When investigators drove through the
school?
parking lot, a black Toyota Tacoma pulled up. Officers told Michael to get out of the vehicle and, according to the complaint, placed him in handcuffs shortly after. This time, Michael was on the opposite side.
He looks young for a police chief too, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this dude had a whole future, man. Come on, man. Like, you can't, like, listen, okay, some people got to pay for it. All right. Maybe he lacked confidence. Maybe he's got Higgy game, you know, okay. But still, like, isn't being chief of police a flex? You know what I'm saying? Isn't it a flex? Like, can't you just like go? Don't you have fucking cocktail parties and shit like that with the mayor and shit like that? And fucking, you can't just be like, hey, you know, I'm chief, baby. I'm the chief. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't, that's not enough pull. That's not enough pull. That's not a flex enough to get some skank in bed. You know what I mean?
Of the Miranda rights. Instead of reading them, they were being read to him. Michael reportedly claimed this was all a big misunderstanding. According to his complaint, he told officers he was on the website to begin with to try to get girls off the street. He claimed he met up with the women, talked to them, even bringing them food, and attempted to set them straight. He's claimed he's done this with about 4 or 5 women in the past. He claims the meetups aren't sexual. They are to get them on a straight line. According to court documents, the police chief claimed he discovered the escort website about a year ago. He met with the record, even bring it to begin with to try to get girls off the street. He claimed he met up with the women, talked to them, even bringing them food, and attempted to set them straight. He's claimed he's done this with about 4 or 5 women in
He's Batman, bro. he's the hooker Batman, bro. He's out there just cleaning shit up, man. That's what he's doing. He's cleaning up the streets on his fucking my man on his free time is like, it's not enough. I don't do enough as a cop. I need to do more. And then he moonlights. Just, you know, picking up women, hookers, meeting up with them, and then being like, you know, you don't need to do this. There's help, you know. Get the fuck out of my face, dude. Stop it. This is fucking amazing. I love this guy.
the past. He claims the meetups aren't sexual. They are to get them on a straight line. According to court documents, the police chief claimed he discovered the escort website about a year ago. He met with a Russian woman from Pittsfield, another woman from Lenox, and that those specific women haven't been back on the site since, and that he hopes they're doing well. Michael allegedly told the officers he believes the women will cooperate his story. But there's a problem. He wouldn't have a way of getting a hold of them. The report noted Michael Ali Bozak is married with 2 kids. I mean, he pointed one of them out in the text messages. But he told the arresting officers his wife wouldn't approve of him meeting with these women. And the night he was arrested, she was actually in Boston for a work training. When officers searched Michael's car, they found more than $500 cash. Investigators believed they had enough to make an arrest, and they did. Michael was charged with soliciting sex for a fee. Following his arrest, he was relieved of duty and
just like that, bro, your fucking career is over, dude. It's over, bro. Now, here's the thing is it's also quite possible that he doesn't need to pay for sex. Maybe it's a fetish. You know, some dudes have that fetish where they just have to, like, they get off on the whole process. They get off on the whole process of, like, meeting in secret, laying money on the table, and all that bullshit comes with it, you know, and just, you know, having some woman who's just like, you know, I guess, yeah, okay, do whatever you want. Do you want to suck on my tit? It's 20 extra, you know, or whatever the fuck it is that goes on in those fucking things. I've seen too many movies. But But like, I imagine like, you know, it's probably like a thing that dude, like, you know, like he just gets off on the whole fucking process, you know?
Placed on administrative leave. His access to the police station and his police-issued
God
firearm were
damn,
seized.
dude.
The town of Cheshire even had to hold an emergency meeting to appoint an acting chief, and the matter had to be reported to the Massachusetts Post Commission. He's bailed out of jail since, and he pleaded not guilty to his charge. His attorney told NBC Boston he is going to be forwarding an aggressive defense that will dispute the charges. His defense team and our investigators are following up.
Oh my God, what an aggressive defense, dude. Wait a second. Dude, I can't. Dear sweet baby Jesus. You hear this man's Batman hooker defense? Amen. Please let that happen, bro. Please let that happen.
On information provided to us that I think will be very helpful to his defense and possibly will lead to an exoneration of him. He's a very solid citizen, and it's a shame that this charge took place. I understand that the DA and the state police have a job to do. We're also going to be aggressively defending him. We do have viable, very substantial defenses we're going to be raising. I'm joined now by criminal defense attorney Will Corman. Will, thank you so much for joining me today. I feel like, Will, it's pretty obvious that officials were going to put Michael Alibozek on administrative leave, but just reading through the criminal complaint, I was kind of like, wow, especially when he asked the woman/undercover officer if she was law enforcement. What stood out most to you kind of reading through his criminal complaint?
Well, I mean, one of the, I think, most troubling aspects of this is it's twofold. One is he keeps talking about the fact that the undercover officer needs to be gone by the time his daughter gets home, and I think that's particularly troubling. Here we have a gentleman who was the chief of police of a town, and he is bringing home what he thinks is
just a second there, Professor. How's that troubling? How's that troubling? Like, you need to get the fuck out before my fucking daughter gets home, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't want his daughter to fucking see. Like, it's troubling if he goes, make sure you're home. I want to be on the couch when my daughter walks in the front door. Like, that's troubling. That's troubling. Being like, yo, you need to be getting the fuck out of here in due time. Like, go.
a sex worker to his actual house, knowing full well that his daughter may be getting home any minute now. And that's troubling. It shows a compulsion. It shows an inability to even conform his conduct, despite the fact that
I'm totally fucking around, man. I was like, of course, dude. You take her to a fucking hotel like a normal fucking person, you weirdo.
he knows his daughter is coming home literally within any moment. He puts in the chat, you need to be gone by 10:30. My daughter is going to be home then. And he says it at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, it was pretty shocking just reading through all of those messages. And I think when they came to kind of a term where they would meet up at the middle school / high school parking lot, and sure, it was around nighttime, but it's still pretty brazen to just do it kind of out in the open. What's your reaction to him being arrested in a parking lot of a high school?
She said that shit was brazen. That shit is brazen as fuck. What are you talking about? My man, let's meet at a school. I'm the chief of police. Let's meet at the school.
/ middle school.
Well, again, I think it goes to show the compulsion. I mean, again, he's no stranger to the community, and here he is willing to drive his own car to a public area that all sorts of individuals have rights of access to. My high school, my kid's high school is right up.
Look at this. Look at this big sucker. I'm going to celebrate with a Hummer.
The street. There's activities at night. There's parent-teacher conferences sometimes. There's PTA meetings. There's all sorts of things. People are in and out of that parking lot all the time. Like you said, this wasn't a meetup at 2 or 3 a.m. It was around 9:30 at night when those things are still happening.
Yeah. And then I know the arrest was a part of a bigger operation, but as a criminal defense attorney, do you see another criminal defense attorney saying that this was entrapment?
So I've tried those entrapment cases before, and despite our best efforts, what the prosecutors are going to do is they're going to show this.
Now, this is not much different than, I'm glad that they brought this up, because this is not much different than like those To Catch a Predator things. Because I remember I every time I would watch those, as fun as they are to watch, like, yo, Chris Hansen is fucking hilarious, dude. Like, those dudes are always there's always cookies, and they always eat the cookies. It's my favorite shit in the world, dude. Is these dudes, they show up to hook up with like a fucking 13-year-old, dude. And then they're sitting there and they're like eating cookies. They're like, she's like, the fucking the decoy is like, help yourself to some cookies. I'll be right down. And then dude's sitting there. And then Chris Hansen walks in and he's like, hey, how you doing? My name's Chris Hansen, and I'm with To Catch a Predator. And there's no need to try to leave because there's officers waiting outside, but just go ahead, have a seat and relax, have some cookies, enjoy. And then they sit there eating the cookies, and he's going, and you texted what you thought to be a 13-year-old is, I want to blah, blah, blah. I don't even want to, like, even with the same sentence as a 13-year-old, I don't even want to like make some shit up. But like, and dude is just sitting there. Well, all I wanted to do was teach them how you got to watch out for creeps. I came over. So why do you have condoms? But I always thought that was fucking entrapment, because I'm like, well, wait a minute. Well, where's the crime? Can you really like charge somebody with intent that he intended to sleep with a 13? He thought in his mind that he was might sleep with a 13-year-old. But the thing is he wasn't talking to a 13-year-old. He was talking to someone of age. So I was like, is that, I always looked at it like that. I always like, how is that not entrapment? How do these cases stick? Is this just for the benefit of television? Do they just fucking tackle, like they have cops that fucking tackle these people outside and then are like, well, yeah, we're not going to prosecute you, but you're going to be on TV. Wait, what? So I always wondered, like, how is that not entrapment? So I'm interested to hear how this is not entrapment.
Entire conversation between the ex-chief of police and the undercover officer, and in those conversations, he's the one who reaches out first. He talks about having sex. He talks about when they can meet up. He talks about explicitly what he wants to do. And to now allege that it's entrapment, that's difficult to do. It's a tough road to hoe, and I don't think it's there.
Yeah, it is a pretty tough road, especially when he was kind of saying that he was helping these women turn over a new leaf, trying to get them, I guess, out of the business in a way. But then those text messages, always going back to those where he wanted to, excuse my language, bend her over. I mean, what's your reaction to just his change of story as soon as he was pretty much busted?
I mean, whenever we see these sort of To Catch a Predator cases or anything along those lines, the most common refrain that we as the public hear is, well, I wasn't actually going to have sex with this person. Right. I was meeting up with them to tell them how dangerous it would be if I were a psychopath or if I were a murderer. We hear that all the time. It's never true. If this guy has helped some women turn over a new leaf, that's fantastic. It really doesn't appear as that was what was going on here.
He said,
and I know he
said a tough hoe.
Spoken about him in the text messages talking about his daughter coming home. But I think also one big thing that stood out to me was him telling the other officers who arrested him that his wife wouldn't approve of it when he was still going with the story, that he was just helping these women. But what do you make of just that this is supposed to be a family man, the chief of police, and then, he's caught doing this?
Well, obviously, I don't know the person individually. I don't know what he's going through, but what I can say is this. In my practice, both as a criminal defense attorney and then once upon a time as a prosecutor, you really do see every level of society. You see all types of individuals who get charged with these offenses, ranging from attorneys to, butcher, baker, candlestick maker. I mean, it really is anyone and everyone.
And then I know when officers, according to the police report, when they searched him, he did have more than $500 of cash on him. I imagine a defense attorney is going to say that this was for personal use, but I also imagine prosecutors will say this is proof that he was planning on paying for sex. But what are your thoughts kind of on both ends of the spectrum there?
Again, it's a lot of money, but it isn't such an absurd amount of money that someone could explain why they had, $5,000 in their pocket at 9:30 at night on a school night, as it were. But
It's 500, bro. It wasn't 5,000. It was 500.
no, I do think that the prosecutors are going to talk about exactly that this is the amount of money or close to the amount of money that this was going on, that, she had quoted amount of money, he had money on him. If he had no money on him, then perhaps, just perhaps, his argument that I was going to try to talk this young lady out of, committing these acts.
Bro, don't you know how to lie, bro? Listen. Here's $500. Okay. Now I know that this is what you quoted me for sex, but I don't want sex. I'm here to save your life. I'm buying something for my money. And I would have pulled a Pulp Fiction, Jules in the diner. I'm buying something for my money. $500 for the salvation of your soul. Yes, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, yes. I wanted to buy the salvation of her soul for $500. I was hoping that $500 would go towards tithes, maybe. Her local church, whatever she wanted. Your Honor. I mean, some shit.
That could hold water, but here we have a guy with money in his pocket. It's kind of hard to make that argument.
I just did.
A lot of money too. I know you mentioned
I just did.
5,000, but it was 500.
I'll see you in court, sir.
I wish, someone just had $5,000 just lying in their pocket. That would be great. I wish I could have $5,000 lying in my pocket, but still $500 is a lot of money. The incident was reported to the Massachusetts Post Commission. For those who are not from Massachusetts, what does this exactly mean?
Sure. So there's a commission that was created in order to determine whether or not law enforcement personnel should maintain their licenses.
We're quite familiar these days with the Post Commission.
And anytime law enforcement is arrested, not even convicted, but arrested, it has to be reported to that commission so they can decide what actions, if any, they want to take against an individual's license.
So it's kind of like an internal, internal affairs just for the state kind of sort of thing?
It is. It's not specific to internal affairs. It's not department by department. It's statewide instead.
Gotcha. And do you see a world where there's a possibility he can keep his job after this arrest? We know he's on an administrative leave to turn over his county weapon, all of that. But do you see a possibility he can still remain in his position after maybe this is all sorted out in the courts?
Fuck no.
I think it's very difficult when members of law enforcement get arrested for any crime. It doesn't matter what it is. We expect law enforcement to have a certain level of gravitas, to have a certain level of professionalism. And once somebody is arrested, again, I suppose there can be outliers, but I think that once somebody is arrested for any crime, it's then difficult for them to go back and do their job.
Yeah, and what do you think this says to the community in terms of their trust of other officers who are there to protect and to serve them? And then, you see this in the news that he was busted for allegedly soliciting sex for money. What are your thoughts on how the community might react to this arrest?
Well, it's also important to remember that the area where this case took place, or where this arrest took place, this is a pretty rural area of Massachusetts. It's on the western border, on the New York border. There are no huge major metropolitan areas near there. So
is anybody else picturing this dude in that situation where he just takes off his glasses and puts them on the fucking table and he's He's like, okay. That shit is just very funny to me, dude. I can't help it. Like, this is the stupidest shit in the world, bro. Like, this guy's whole life is pissed away because he wanted to fucking put money on a table, dude. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. You poor bastard.
That's sort of a long-winded answer to your question. This is not a big booming metropolis with hundreds of police officers. It's a very small police force. It's a very small community. So the fact of the matter is this guy knows everyone in the community, and everyone in the community knows him. So I think it would be very difficult for him to go back and perform his job accordingly.
And even that, to some extent,
Yeah. Of course, it's going to be difficult for him to go back and do his job accordingly. How the fuck's he supposed to do that? He's the chief of police, dude. The chain of command is fucked. Like, there's no way that anybody, any subordinate to him, is going to be like, yes, sir, and have fucking genuine respect. Like, they're just going to picture this dude taking off his glasses and putting them on the table and then being like, there's never going to be anybody who's going to take an order from this guy ever again and take him seriously. There's just no way. That's it. You're tattooed, bro. You're tattooed as the guy who pays for pussy. That's it. You're done. There's no place in a position of power in the police force for somebody who who openly pays for pussy like that. It's just not. I'm sorry.
his family, I can imagine kind of maybe what, I hate to say the rumor mill, the gossip mill kind of going on, but just I imagine with it being such a small town that a lot of people are talking, and I can only imagine how his family is feeling, his daughter.
I don't feel bad for laughing at all, dude. Listen, this is a victimless fucking crime. The people who suffered is the community. But really, it's just like, dude, I'm of the opinion, like, I don't give a fuck, let the guy, what's that got to do with how he polices? You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is, it is what it is. Like, he pissed his career away over, but it was a victimless crime. Like, if there's ever a crime that you could joke about, it's a fucking John getting busted and he's a fucking cop, dude. Like, that's fucking hilarious to me, dude. I don't give a fuck what you say. There's nothing not funny about that. There's nothing not funny about that. It's a completely victimless crime. And the dude is basically just, it's a situation where he's caught with his pants down.
Was mentioned in this arrest report as kind of a cover-up in a way to get the woman out, who turned out to be a UC, all of that sort, but also that he's married. What are your thoughts on?
Yeah, but that's dude, I'm talking about victimless in the sense that it's fucking like, as far as crimes go, okay? I'm not talking about how it affects his family and blah, 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 blah. That's none of my fucking business. I don't give a shit, honestly, that's between him and his family. I don't care. This shit is a community issue that if you can't laugh at it, then you're going to get pissed off about it. And really, what is it to get pissed off about? You know what I'm saying? Like, the guy wanted to pay for pussy, dude. And
just how maybe some people in the town might have some type of reaction specifically towards his family, even though they didn't do anything.
I would say this: the vast majority of crimes carry with it collateral consequences that go far beyond the individual themselves who's charged. So it doesn't matter what crime you're charged with, family members get involved and family members are hurt. And the more salacious the crime is, I think the higher the risk or probability that...
Dude, shut the fuck up. That is absolutely the case, but that has nothing to do with law and crime, does it? It is a personal family fucking issue that has nothing to do with anybody. That is a situation where it's like, dude, you shouldn't have fucking paid for pussy because you're a chief of police. That is your problem. Those factors, that is his problem. Period. That is absolutely his problem. And there's no like, I mean, everything that everyone does, everybody's family has problems, dude. His problem just happens to be that he compulsively pays for fucking pussy. Like, that's his problem. And that's going to be a family issue that they're going to have to go through therapy, work out, whatever. It is what it is. But there's nobody here who doesn't have family issues. And maybe dude here doesn't have family issues like you got family issues. Like, let's just be real. So playing the family issue card in all of this is it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. We're talking about a crime here, and where a crime takes place, there's nothing happening. Like, there's okay, the dude got busted fucking being like, basically his kink got outed. That's what happened. The guy's kink got outed. And he's the chief of police. And his kink happens to be illegal. Now, whether or not it should be illegal is another conversation. But the bottom line is it's illegal. No, and I don't have any sympathy for him either. I mean, it's insane to me that a guy that young making it to chief of police would fucking piss it away like that over something so fucking stupid.
Family members are going to be hurt and impacted by the actions of the individuals.
And we do know that recently he pleaded not guilty to his charges, and his defense attorney says that she plans to aggressively defend him. What do you see happening next in his case?
Like, what a fucking loser.
You know, one of the punchlines about a charge like this is this. This is not, although it's a serious offense, it is certainly not the most serious offense by any stretch of the imagination. It is not unusual for people who are charged with this crime to get some period of unsupervised probation with some terms and conditions that surround it. Obviously, since he is a public figure, I think the district attorney's office will take this much more serious.
That's another point right there. Is like, dude, what are they going to do to this guy? You know, the worst thing that's going to happen to this guy is that he loses his job and that he can't be a cop anymore. That's the worst fucking thing that's going to happen to this guy, because he's not going to do any time for that shit. You know, who gets time for that? You know, who goes to jail because they attempted to pay a hooker for sex? And think about that. How, like, somebody who, let's say somebody who fucking works at fucking McDonald's, you know, they get busted for the same thing. They're not going to lose anything. They're not going to lose their job at McDonald's over it. You know what I mean? They just go, hey, I'm out and I make it in for a couple days, you know, depending if they don't have any fucking bail. And why wouldn't they have any bail? Because they work at McDonald's. But whatever. But I mean, they're not going to, like, this guy's whole life is fucked now because he's the chief of police for doing something that if a guy who worked at McDonald's did the same thing, it would have no real impact on his life. It would be a minor inconvenience. He has to go to court every now and then. Probably pay a fine, pay court costs. You know what I'm saying? It's wild, dude. It's crazy when you think about it like that.
They may be looking for a greater punishment than they would for just some random person off the street, but nevertheless, the likelihood of this guy doing any time or anything along those lines, that's just not realistic.
Right.
Do you think
so why bust him if not just to ruin his fucking life? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm him, I'm bitter as fuck. You know? If I'm his family, I'm bitter for him. I'm not sitting here and thinking about the embarrassment that I'm feeling. Chances are I'm thinking, well, fuck, man. Like, really? Like, I didn't need to know that about my dad. You know, I didn't need to fucking know. But I'd be more like, well, you're going to ruin his fucking life because he, you know, wanted to pay for pussy? What? You ruin our lives? Well, I get that he's not a regular citizen. I get all that. But I'm saying, let's just say he's a fucking cokehead, right? Let's say he's a fucking cokehead, a meth head, smack fiend, right? Those are things that if he was engaged in, they would affect his job. But if the dude has, like, what is the difference between that? Like, let's just say it's a sex fetish, right? Let's say it's beyond even that he fucking feels like he has to do it in order to get laid. Regardless what the reason is, it's really, when you think about it, a private thing. How is it any different than anybody else's kink that they have behind closed doors in their own bedroom? And why is it anybody else's business? If two consenting adults exchange goods for services, this is fucking America. Who gives a fuck? And at the end of the day, how is it any different? What's the difference because of the power he holds in the community? Fucking, so the chief of police can't be into BDSM? Is that what you're saying? You're saying that a chief of police can't be a swinger if they want to be? What's unethical about this? Now, if he was on duty, that's a different story. But I don't think he was on duty, was he? So because he holds a position of power in the police force, there's something unethical about what he does in his private life that doesn't affect his job in any way, shape, or form, unless he's doing it on duty. You see what I'm saying? So what fucking difference does it make? Like, the only thing, like, basically this guy, like, if you boil it down, ethics my ass. Fucking what's unethical? What's unethical about exchanging goods and services with another adult, no matter what those goods and services are? What's unethical about it? Explain it to me. I'm willing to have this conversation with anybody. A higher standard than what? He should be held to a higher standard than what? No, okay. I get it. He broke the law. Technically, he broke the law. Okay. But who was getting hurt in his breaking the law is my point. We're getting down to brass tacks because that's the easy way. That's the easy way to go about this. Okay. Like here at the Glare, dude, we like to have stimulating conversations. Because I'm curious as to how is it just because it's illegal. I mean, Turtle Boy technically broke the law. Does that mean that the law is right? Because what I'm saying is, in this illegal act that the chief of police engaged in, nobody's denying that it's illegal. In this illegal act, did anybody get hurt until he was arrested? Did anyone get hurt until he was charged and publicly outed? No, she wasn't underage. She was just an undercover sex worker. That's the only point I'm making here. It's the only point I'm making. Is this man, for all we know, is an exemplary, exceptional chief of police, for all we know. For all we know, this man was excellent. What does whether or not he likes to pay for sex have to do with how well he runs his police department? Is my question. Show me that, and then I'll tell you that it's fair that this guy's whole life is flushed down the toilet. Now, it's funny because he should have known better. I'm laughing because he fucking should have known better. Like, it's a stupid thing to piss your whole career away on. So I'm not holding the guy accountable. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying, though, is in the grand scheme of things, the moral dilemma here, the question is, should this man's whole life be flushed down the toilet? Does the punishment fit the crime? Should this man's whole life be flushed down the toilet because he likes to pay for sex? Is that because he's the chief of police? You guys are saying yes. Is that because he's the chief of police? Let me do this. All right. So I've got a poll up here.
There's a possibility his charges down the line could get dismissed. I know we were talking a little bit earlier about possibly the defense being entrapment, but do you see that this case could go all the way, maybe up until trial by any chance?
Again, what we know about this case so far, looking at the text messages back.
I'm not saying, okay, you guys are misunderstanding me. You guys are not just, you're just not thinking on the level that I'm trying to get you to think. I'm saying I'm not denying the fact that he broke the law, and I'm not denying the fact that he should be fired because he's held to a standard to uphold the law. It's very stupid of him to break the law, especially in that manner, being in the position of power that he's in. I'm not denying that. We're on the same page about that. What I'm asking is a much deeper question. Do you feel that a man or a woman, whatever their sexual preferences are, as long as they are amongst consenting adults, should they lose their entire life over that just because they happen to be in a position of power and just because it happens to be illegal? Like, do you feel that it's deserving? Oh, man, I like this. Hold on, man. How many? 107 votes so far, and it is 50-50, man. Like, it is down the middle. This is amazing. I love this shit. This is why I'm asking these questions. If you're new to the channel, this is good glare stuff, in my opinion. This is the stuff I like to do. I like to provoke thought. Because there's no, I mean, you can have whatever opinion you want here. Like, it's totally cool. We're adults and we can have discussions, and we should, like, these should be thought-provoking discussions, or else we're wasting our fucking time. You know, I don't want to waste your fucking time, and I don't want you to waste mine, and I don't want to waste my own. You know what I mean? Like, I want to have I want to have discussions where we all don't agree and we can discuss. Like, see, exactly my point here. I worked as an industrial electrician. Should I get extrajudicial punishment for paying a hooker? Right. Again, keep in mind, it is the oldest fucking profession in existence since the beginning of time. Since people thought of the concept of exchange of goods and services. Because I'm saying, you know, due process, the fact that he broke the law and he's held to a higher standard to not break the law, okay. But I'm saying, like, when we think about it as to who got hurt? Who got hurt? How does his sex life affect his ability to effectively chief the police? You see what I'm saying? And if it is a fetish, like, how can he help it? You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people who, like, just simply can't get off unless they got a finger in their ass, you know, or some shit like that. Like, how is this any different? Potentially. You know what I mean? Yeah, but what the fuck's that got to do with him chiefing police? I know his wife got hurt, but that's a personal family issue. And the only reason his wife got hurt, really, is because he fucking got outed. How do you know his wife didn't already know? How do you know his wife wasn't into it? My point being is, the family issue is a private issue. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is whether or not it's morally right that someone lose their entire life over a victimless fetish. A fetish that involves consenting adults and no reason to think otherwise. Meaning, was the community affected? Here's another way to look at it. Here's another question. Was the community affected? His community that he's in charge of policing, was that affected by his fetish to sleep with paid women before he was arrested for it and charged? Charlie Lynn, thank you so much. Can he get hired if he had this crime on his record? I mean, depending, probably not as a chief of police, but he could probably go to some fucking one-horse town and get a job as a cop. He's young enough still. He could, depending on, I mean, it's whatever agency they can hire based on whatever, I would imagine. So I'm just saying, how was the community affected by his sleeping with hookers before he was charged? And he was not on duty when it took place. Sex trafficking victims aren't consenting. How do you know she's a sex trafficking victim? I'm giving this woman the benefit of the doubt. I'm giving the sex worker the benefit of the doubt. Now, of course, that goes without saying. A victim of trafficking, of course. Like, what are we talking about here? That's a completely different subject. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about consenting adults. Like, that goes without saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, why the fuck are you even talking about that? Of course, a fucking victim of sex trafficking is a victim. We're not talking about sex trafficking victims. Why do I assume she's consenting? Because I'm giving the sex worker generally the sex worker the benefit of the doubt. That's what I'm doing. They don't all have to be trafficking victims. Let's see. Prostitution is as old as dirt. He got caught, that's all. The embarrassment is more punishment than anything. Don't confuse trafficking with prostitution. It's not the same. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Common sense. I can't give the cop the benefit of the doubt. I can't give the cop the benefit of the doubt. What's the problem with giving the cop the benefit of the doubt? He's accused, isn't he? Aren't we an innocent until proven guilty community here? Now, I agree that it's pretty open shut here. You know what I mean? Like, we saw the transcripts of the exchange between him and the undercover officer, and the undercover person, the person working for the police department, trying to bust him. We saw the exchange, and we heard his ridiculous excuse. But yeah, that's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind here. I'm saying ask questions. This is just an exercise in an example of asking questions. I see things like this and I want to ask questions. So yeah, that's all I'm doing here. I'm not trying to sway you one way or the other. I'm just providing another perspective that's not the norm. You see a story like this on Law and Crime, and automatically you go, ha, fucking creep, you get what you fucking deserve, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. But then all I'm saying is, let's think about the crime. Let's think about the crime. How serious is the crime? That's all I'm saying. How much did him committing this crime affect him being able to effectively be the chief of police in that particular department? I'm just asking questions. I don't know if she's okay. I don't know. Was he charged with trafficking? Was he charged with anything in relation to trafficking? If he was, then okay, that's a valid argument. But to sit there and go, well, we don't know. We don't know if he did it, if she was trafficked or not. Okay. But he's not accused of it. So why are you making that the argument? I mean, the bottom line is, and I've already stated my position on this. Of course, it goes without saying, if she's a victim of trafficking, if he's soliciting sex from victims of trafficking knowingly, or not even giving a fuck, and they happen to be, then yeah, this dude should be in jail. I agree 100%. But if he's going for what seem to be independent prostitutes, independent, she has an ad, he's chatting with her, they both seem consenting. I mean, I'm just trying to say here, like, there's a lot of questions. It's not as cut and dry is all I'm saying. It's not as cut and dry. And you don't get to throw the trafficking argument in there when he's not accused. I completely agree. It is not conducive to this discussion at all. Right. And I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm asking you to ask questions beyond what is being fed to you by law and crime. You know, that's all. Isn't that what we do here? Isn't that an exercise in promotion of independent journalism? Now that's a very fair argument right there. That's a very fair argument. He is contributing to a problem he is tasked to mitigate. He did. Bottom line is he took an oath. He took an oath to uphold the law. He's breaking the law. So by that technicality, of course, he should be fucking fired. Of course. Nobody's denying that. Nobody's denying that. What I'm asking, though, is morally speaking, and this is a good argument towards that. You're saying on a moral level, that's the argument. That's the counter argument there. Morally speaking, beyond the law, which is where I'm exploring, that's what I'm exploring here, beyond the law, on a moral level, on a human level. You're saying, well, he's contributing to a problem that he is tasked to mitigate. So that is an ethical issue. That is an ethics issue, 100%. And he is tasked to mitigate this. It is illegal to solicit prostitution, and he solicited prostitution. He willfully tried to solicit a prostitute. And if he took an oath, and this is the law that says that this has to make this area better to keep the streets clean for whatever reason, okay. But I'm just saying that, okay, it makes him a liar, but okay, so what? You know, everybody in this fucking chat's a liar to some degree. Everybody is. We all are to some degree. I mean, it's just, to me, it's like, okay, but because I just look at, I honestly look at anybody, I just don't judge people for that. You know, like for me, I don't judge people for whatever their sexual fetishes are, you know, as long as they're victimless, you know, as long as they're victimless. So I look at it from that perspective. If his fetish is victimless, then I don't see that it's justifiable that he doesn't get to continue to be the chief of police because of what he chooses to do behind closed doors amongst consenting adults. That's what I'm saying. But the fact is on a technical level, yeah, he should absolutely be fired because he broke the law, and he's sworn to uphold the law. So it is what it is. But it just sucks when you think about it, because he might just be a really good man, and he might be a really good father, and he might be a really good husband. He just has this issue. He has this problem, you know, and his whole life is fucked over it, even though nobody got hurt until he got caught for it. So I'm just saying, it's a tree falling in the forest type of situation is all I'm saying. I mean, yeah, but that's between him and his family. You know, yeah, he needs counseling, probably, sure, you know, but that's between him and his family. You know what I mean? But he didn't mix work with pleasure. He didn't mix work with pleasure. He's not accused of that. He's not accused of doing it on the job. Farwell's a different story. Farwell's a groomer and a fucking a rapist. Like, it's a totally different story. Not even comparable. Not even comparable. Let me see where the poll is at. Wow, 56% of you say that that his whole life should not be stripped away. 57% of you say. But the phone lines are open now, folks. Because I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Before I take the first call, hold on a second. Oops, my bad. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I had to grab another energy drink. So I'll take the next call that comes through.
Call from.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Yeah, I will, Clara. This is Specially Appointed Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove.
Hello, Specially Appointed Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove. How are you today, sir?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you very much.
So what's happening, man? I heard you did your very first YouTube presentation.
Yeah, that's correct, Will. I had my very first live presentation at 6 o'clock tonight. All the antenna people showed up. They were very nice. I appreciate it very much. I just wanted to call and say hello and, say that hi to the antenna people once more and, Also, thank you because you gave me the platform to come on here and talk nonsense.
Oh man, I love it. You're always welcome here on my YouTube presentation, Specially Appointed Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove.
Yeah. So what are we doing tonight? I missed some of it. What are we doing here?
Well, I was talking about a somewhat controversial subject, which I didn't expect to be controversial. I just got to thinking about it as we were covering it, and the chat is pretty split. 57% don't believe that this man's whole life should be stripped away because he pays for sex and his own free time and behind closed doors. 43% say yes. And for good, like they're both good arguments in my opinion, because the other argument is the fact is that the shit is illegal and the guy swore an oath to protect the community from said illegal acts, and he's accountable for what he's done. You know, I mean, chief of police shouldn't be engaged in that kind of behavior.
Oh, he's the chief of police,
right?
And he was soliciting. Is that the deal?
Right. Yeah, he tried to solicit sex from an undercover, and then he got charged.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fine line situation. I mean, your regular Joe who was just going out and soliciting services or presentations, if you will, from women who whatever. I'm not going to get into it, but anyways, what I'm saying,
women of the night is what I believe.
Women of the night, the oldest profession in the world, or whatever it's called. Okay,
right.
But also, if you're going to do that, you also can't be running around arresting people for the same thing. Let me give you a little bit of a thing. Putting aside my turtle dove situation, let's okay. So if I'm a plumber, I can't go around ripping toilets out of the wall because I want to do the work. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Good point.
I don't know if that's a good analogy, but
it's not really, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, because it's not exactly, I mean, you can't. I mean, the bottom line is if you're a plumber and you are soliciting sex, like your whole life's not going to be ruined. You're still going to be able to plumb. You're plumbing fine. You know what I mean?
Right. But that's not what I'm saying.
But how can
I'm saying if you go,
you know what I'm saying? Like, how could he? I mean, he's not actually going out and slapping the cuffs on prostitutes in their johns. You know what I mean? He's
not actually doing it. He just represents the police force that's doing it for him. So you can't be a pimp and a prostitute at the same time, Will, is what I'm saying.
So a prostitute can't pimp herself out?
Oh, I mean, these days, I mean, there's all kinds of, ways. What I'm saying is law enforcement is held to a higher standard. You can't just run around doing shit like that. That's what I'm saying.
This should not be as intellectual of a conversation as it is. It's way beyond like my capabilities, which is really funny. Like this should not even be that intellectual of a conversation. And it just is. Like, should the police chief have his whole life stripped from him because he likes to leave money on the table?
Well, I don't know about his whole life, but probably what he does for a living, because he's also running around arresting people for the same thing that he's doing.
He's not running around doing anything. He's pushing a pencil. He's sitting behind it.
Okay, so he's pushing the pencil that writes the laws into the law. When you say push
up the laws,
pushing pencils, I mean,
specially appointed prosecutor Robert Cosgrove. You're aware that the police chief doesn't make up the laws.
Well, I mean, a lot of people have a lot of. I mean, that's debatable, Will. But go ahead.
I think that is debatable. I guess you're right.
Yeah.
I love this because everybody's really thinking about this. I love it.
Well, okay. So let me. All right. So let me do this. Okay. So if I'm specially appointed to, to indict T-Rex arms, right? I don't know, where am I going with this?
Where are you going?
Stupid, right? Everybody agrees that's dumb, right? And you have to hold, prosecutors and law enforcement to a higher standard than you will a regular person. In other words, when Chris Alba came to me a couple of years ago and said, "Can you get me a hooker?" And I said, "I don't know, maybe. Give me a call in a couple of days." I said too much, but anyways.
Well,
what I'm saying is,
so Chris
Go ahead.
Albert, so a selectman asked a specially appointed prosecutor for a hooker, is what you're saying.
well, you know what I mean. I listen. I'm not going to do that. That was no. I didn't mean that. Listen, we can get in trouble for this. It's made up. I'm not a prosecutor. Okay. But anyway,
Don't panic, man. Calm down. It's just a joke. It's parody. We're good. Relax.
yeah, I know.
Stay in character.
Yeah, I know. But it's kind of libelous when you get it past a certain point. But anyway, let's pretend that did happen.
I'm listening. Please go on.
Let's pretend that did happen.
Okay.
The prosecuting body of government needs to be held to a higher standard, and because somebody's the chief of police, they are arresting and prosecuting and putting people in jail for the same type of thing that you are saying. Whereas, the regular guy off the street, say like a Colin Albert, for instance, he was
Careful.
soliciting. I'm trying to be. And he's just a regular guy. He's not, specially appointed jerk off or whatever he is. He's just a member of the public. It's kind of different. You know what I'm saying?
No, but okay.
All right. Okay. What's your favorite color?
My favorite color? Green.
Mine's
No, you
blue.
don't see any. But yeah.
Yeah, mine's blue.
One might say the absence of is my favorite.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's some some philosophical type shit right there. Local area.
This whole fucking stream turned philosophical, bro. That's how we do. Okay. We're deep thinkers.
What happened?
I said we're deep thinkers, Kasi. We're deep thinkers.
Deep
I know.
think. Yeah,
Now's not
yeah.
the time for a nap.
Think deep is something like that.
Exactly. Now's not the time for a nap. I need you to stay with us, okay?
Yeah, well, I'm a man of advanced years, Will. I've told you this.
I
many
understand.
times.
I understand. No, I get it.
But anyways, talking generally about these law enforcement people running around, trying to make time with a woman of the night. It's just not a good look because you're arresting people and doing the same crap. Even if you're not actually arresting the people, you're the chief of police, and you said earlier he's a pencil pusher. He's pushing the pencil that make the laws and prosecute people. They're held to a higher standard. You can't do it, and that's it. Anyways.
Yep. I mean, I guess that's why he's fired. That's it. That's good.
It's probably a pretty good. I don't know. It's probably a pretty good reason.
I hope it goes to trial. I want to see him argue. Like he thinks that he's planning on fighting these charges. Like I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm gonna cover the fuck out of that.
Yeah, well, that's his right to defend his make a defense, and I'm not sure how it'll work out for him, but good luck.
Okay. All right.
Maybe he should get Gatuni's, attorney to go represent him.
You might as well be Gatuni's attorney.
Well, no comment, Will.
Oh, what the fuck is going on here? Hold on. Sorry. I'm checking something out real quick.
That's okay. Go ahead. Take your time, Will. It's your presentation.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. People are saying Aiden's live, but I don't see where.
Really?
Yeah.
Turtle Dove, huh?
Turtle Dove is supposedly live right now. But it's not coming up on my shit. He must be on another platform or something. Probably on Twitter or something.
Yeah, interesting, Will Glera. I wanted to thank
Oh,
people for coming on my presentation.
He's doing Sex Cult tonight instead of tomorrow.
Oh, it's Sex Cult night. That's
yeah,
correct.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. All right, well, thanks for being on my YouTube presentation again, especially appointed prosecutor Robert Cosgrove.
Yeah, thanks for having me on your presentation, Will Glera. We'll see you later. Thanks for everybody for coming on to my presentation as well. Okay.
Yes, I'm gonna have to catch a replay on that.
Thanks, Will. Have a good night.
Good night.
Call from
Angie.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Will, it's Angie.
Hi, Angie.
So I don't think you saw my comment in the chat, but my ex-husband got caught up in one of those To Catch a Predator things quite a few years ago.
No way.
And the thing that sickens me the most about it is the girl that he was allegedly talking to was 13, and our then 13-year-old had just turned 13.
Oh, wow.
So he used the same excuse that he was just going to talk to her about making her life better, but he showed up with condoms and lube.
They're always a hero. Yeah. They're always a hero. Yeah. God, that sucks so bad. What was the backlash on that? Did neighbors and friends and family recognize him? And what happened?
Well,
how did that turn out for you?
The way that I found out about it was my best friend who lives in South Dakota, because he's from South Dakota. I was living back home in Hawaii at that point, and my best friend messaged me, and he's like, "Is this your ex-husband?" And I looked at it. I'm like,
"Oh,
yeah,
you were already divorced. You were already divorced."
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But it's been affecting our kids, because even though at that point, okay, so there's a longer story behind it, but basically he lost custody of our kids. Our kids got taken away from him due to abuse. And we, just prior to this happening, we had lost our parental rights because he couldn't get his shit together, basically. Okay. And wouldn't admit to abusing them. So because he lost his rights, and I lived in Hawaii, it was a whole shit show. And I was living in Idaho by that point, but still, either way, it was a shit show. And like I said, our now 17-year-old had just turned 13. And not to go too deep, but I dealt with abuse of the sexual nature as a kid. And I told him when we had our first girl, I was like, "Don't you ever fucking touch her." And I've talked to her about it, and she said that he never had, but yet he's willing to talk to a supposed teenager on the internet.
So what ended up happening to him? Did he end up getting charged?
Yeah, he ended up getting charged and convicted, and he's in federal prison.
He's in federal from the To Catch a Predator thing?
Yeah, because it happened at the Sturgis motorcycle rally, like the FBI and all them go into the rally in Sturgis, South Dakota, and they post things like this every year, trying to catch people because of that kind of people that those kind of events bring out.
Holy
I
shit.
guess. Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
So, yeah. So, and his current wife is still with him for some god awful reason. I have no clue. She won't even talk to me about it. She won't tell me the details. So I don't know his side of it, like what his story is, like from him directly, because I don't really care. Like, you know.
Wow.
Yeah,
So he was already abusive. So he already had a history of this before he got busted by To Catch a Predator.
Well, at least of physical and mental abuse. My oldest daughter said that he never touched her sexually. So, and I haven't been able to talk to our 17-year-old because long story, but we don't really have a relationship. She knows I love her, but you know, when she's ready, she'll come to me, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's your business.
Yeah. So like I agree the guy should lose his job because like Kazi was saying, like he's there, he may be a pencil pusher at this point, but he is in charge of the men and women that go out and arrest people for doing the exact same thing. So it's kind of a oxymoron for him to get away with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree on that standard. I was exploring more of, would it, in the grand scheme of things, would how he chooses to engage in sex with another consenting adult, would that actually affect his ability to be an effective police chief? Now, obviously, he made bad choices and he threw it away, and rightfully so, because, he should know better. Of course,
right?
Nobody's denying that. What I'm saying is, what if the next chief of police is way worse?
Right. Yeah, I get that too. Yeah.
So it's like, should we be questioning even how bad is it that somebody has that particular issue? I mean, is it a personal thing, or should the entire community be affected by it because he's outed? You know what I mean? Been a problem had he not been outed. Would it have changed anything? Is my point. Like, had he never been caught for it, would it have changed anything outside of his own personal family issues? You know what I mean?
Probably, yeah, probably not. But it's the way I see it too is he may be one of those people that thinks, oh, if I can get away with this, can I get away with something worse? You know what I mean? Prostitution could be like the bottom rung.
I don't know about that. I think it's
I'm cynical. I
think that's a whole nother monster.
Too much of a cynic.
Yeah,
but
I think that's a whole nother monster. I don't think that has anything to do with anything else. Like I said, like if he had a drug problem, then that'd be different because that would affect his job. You know what I mean? That would that would affect how he effectively polices. So you know what I mean? That's different. But this is, I look at this like, I don't know. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be fired. Of course he should be fired. Like, it's illegal. He swore an oath and it's very hypocritical, and you can't effectively lead. You can't effectively lead other officers when this is out there,
Right.
I'm just asking the question is, would the community been affected at all had he not gotten caught? That's just the question I'm raising. That's all.
Well, the other question could be if he had gotten caught, but they kept it under like where he still got fired, but I like transparency. Of course it's Massachusetts, so I'm looking through the lens.
Yeah,
of
and it's easy.
softer.
It's easy to just lump, and that's the other thing is I'm trying to like make it a little bit more difficult to just lump every cop up that gets in trouble to being, dirty cops like Proctor and the people involved in the Turtle Boy and Karen Reed scandal. I'm just, doesn't just because a cop gets in trouble in Massachusetts doesn't necessarily put them in that same category as the question.
Right. Yeah, and I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like I maybe had they he walked away from the job, like they found out he walked away from the job without like the actual keeping it under wraps, and maybe it came down the road, but he wasn't police chief anymore by that point. It might not have affected the community as much, I think, maybe. I'm trying not to look at it like I don't know, maybe if it had been that way. Like if he had,
See, I don't want to hear this argument either. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
Porn and sex addiction changes your brain. That's not an argument. That's not an argument. So should we make it illegal for cops to watch porn now? Based on that,
no.
Is that your argument there, Mary Cruz? That we should based on that, what's the solution? Should we just make it illegal for cops to watch porn? Come on, get real. Let's just be realistic in our arguments here, please.
Yeah, I don't know. It could have happened a bunch of different ways. Like he could have, instead of being a stubborn cuss, just walked away from the job and then let somebody else come in, because he realized he did something wrong. But it doesn't look like he thinks he did anything wrong.
Well,
he broke the law.
Well, he's lying.
I mean, in the end,
it's not that he doesn't think he's done anything wrong. I'm making a better argument for him than he's making for himself. It's not that he doesn't think he's done anything wrong. He obviously thinks he's done something wrong because he's lying. And he's saying that, oh, well, I wasn't trying to solicit sex. What I was trying to do was help the poor young lady. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
This is what I do. I on my free time, I troll the women of the night, and then I preach them the word of God. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
No, you don't, dude. Stop it. Stop it. No, you're paying for sex. Stop it. That's it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he lost, or he's fighting it, so we'll see how it goes at this point. I'm like you. I want to know what his argument.
And I'm not even hoping that he beats it, But I am fascinated because I can't wait to hear this guy argue this shit in front of a jury. I'm dying for it. I have to see how a jury fucking reacts to this. I have to see how a judge reacts to it. I have to see what a prosecutor is going to say to this defense. I'm fascinated that this guy is caught red-handed and he's trying to argue that he's innocent. I love it. I can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's what my ex-husband's argument was too. But like I said, I don't know the full story. I tried to look into the court papers, couldn't find anything. So all I know is he's in federal prison now. So good luck to him.
Wow. Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, I think they call that in the movie Office Space, federal pound me in the ass prison is what they call that.
Yeah. And I just want to say the reason why I brought up John Cena the other time I called was because Raw was in Boston on Monday, and Boston did not disappoint. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, but I don't know who that is.
And his name is John C.
Okay, I'm not going to try myself in that one again. I tried to walk away from it, Will. I tried.
All right. I'm letting you go before you turn this into a fucking wrestling conversation.
All right.
All right.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Call from
Brenda from Canada.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, it's Brenda from Canada. How are you?
Hi, Brenda from Canada.
So I got an opinion about this. First of all, I'll tell you that I kind of agree with a lot of what you're saying. Now, the reason why I do is because I kind of lived two different lives at the same time when I was married. My husband's deceased, but I had one foot in church and I had one foot in the world. So I smoked drugs, I drank, I went to bars, did shit like that. Now, when the church found out about it, they told me that I displeased God. Now, listen to this. About 2 weeks after that, this pastor stands up and he says, we've got to pray for brother so-and-so because the devil made him commit adultery on his wife. Now, putting that aside, I'm glad that I don't go to church anymore because they're hypocrites. But you know what? I agree with you because there's nobody dead. Like, you know what? It's sex. That's all it is. And the only thing that I would have that would change my mind is that, that those court systems go and that sheriff told that judge. Hopefully he wasn't one of these cops that said, well, you know what, I won't arrest you, you do this for me. But it doesn't sound like that. And you know what, if he fights the charges, the only thing that I think he will have a hard time with is if they do have prostitution illegal. And I actually disagree with that too. Like I said, I'm glad I don't go to church anymore because I really do love God. But I don't think it should be illegal because, I mean, it's no different than gambling and other things. It's like, give me a break. Like, just leave them alone. I hope he fights for this, but for people to say, you're probably too young for this, I almost lost my mind when I watched that with Bill Clinton, with Monica Lewinsky. He, for a Democrat president at the time, ran the country really good, right? And here they spend $50 million on the fact that he got a blowjob in the Oval Office by Monica Lewinsky. He ran the country good. He did everything fine. And therefore, she was 20 years old. It was none of their fucking business. And I couldn't believe that they spent that much money over a blowjob in a fucking White House Oval Office. Give me a break. He did his job. He ran the country good. And I just thought, you know what? Like, fucking give it up, man. Like, it's just awful what they do to people.
I agree.
They scrutinize
Where do you get these fucking idiots?
for
Huh?
something
Where do you
that
get 'em?
he got caught at, and how many of them didn't get caught doing that as police officers. So, to me, it's just hypocrisy in the worst form.
I agree.
It really is. Yeah. And I think that, like you, I'd like to see how he would fight that because it's just bullshit. Like, they should have bigger fish to fry in this fucking country of yours and mine than bullshit like that.
Yep.
It's just, it's wrong. Like, there's bad people, go get them. Leave people like this alone. Let the guy have his job. So I hope it works out for him. So, yep, and I'm glad that I got to say hi to you, and you know what, you have yourself a good week. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I think it's stupid how much money they're going to spend on this for something as ludicrous as this shit.
Agreed.
Yeah. So you know what, you have yourself a good week, and I'll talk to you down the line.
All right. Well, thanks, Brenda. Thanks for calling, as always. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. All right, folks. That's it for me. I'm wrapping this one up. People, you guys are absolutely amazing. I really appreciate all you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Appreciate all the callers. Thanks for indulging me in a controversial conversation. It really shouldn't have been that controversial, but I like to ask questions. I like to go deep, sometimes at the risk of losing some of you. But thanks for indulging me, and thanks for playing along. It was really cool, man. But a lot of you guys, man, it was crazy, man. It's split down the middle, 57%. Only 57%. thought that this man should not have his whole life stripped from him over this. Now, I'm on the fence about it. Because I think both arguments are really, really good. But I am interested. I hope this goes to trial, and please let the trial be covered. Oh my God, I'm dying for this to go to trial. Anyways, guys, you guys are absolutely fantastic. Make sure to hit the like on your way out. It really helps me out. And make sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Double check and make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you know when I'm going live. And make sure to subscribe to MC Kelsey G. All right. Make sure to catch his next YouTube presentation. Guys, thank you so much for all the support. I'm really grateful to you guys, man. A lot of gifted memberships today. Thanks so much. And I hope you guys are enjoying the clubber glare walks in the morning. I'm enjoying them, hanging out with you guys, talking shit. And also, I've been slacking on this, but the Patreon, the movie reviews, I got some new shit in the works for that, folks. We're going to bring that back. We're coming back to the Patreon. We're going back to reviewing the movies. It's going to be fun. And I've got some new guests in line for this. People, I love you very much. Remember, it only takes a second to stay safe. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.
Watch out!
Today, being retarded means leading a full life. Retarded people go to work or school, just like their neighbors, and come back to a real home. A supervised home, right in the neighborhood, where they belong. Being retarded never stopped anyone from being a good neighbor.